It's just coming up to 12:30 and we're talking about the menopause today. It's Menopause Awareness Month and we're hearing about it across the BBC. Make sure you're tuned into our breakfast show with Ashley Tracy for the rest of the week because she'll be talking about it every day this week. A natural part of ageing, of course, that usually happens for women between the ages of 40 and 45. There's hormone replacement therapy. You'll have heard of HRT. There's lifestyle changes that women can make to help ease the symptoms that come along with this kind of life change. And it's not always something that's talked about openly. We'll be hearing from a doctor shortly on the programme who wants that to change. The more we talk about it, the better, she says, with partners, with children, with mothers, with your boss. With your boss, if you need to have that conversation. There should be things set up in the workplace to support people emotionally for a whole range of things. And one of those should be the menopause. Is that the same in your office? How often do you talk about the menopause in your morning meeting? Sophie Shan joins us now from Fuller Nutrition, which offers lifestyle and emotional therapies. Sophie, thanks for joining us. I want to talk to you a little bit more about the symptoms of the menopause, and you'll know about this through your work with other people going through it, and the fact that you're going through it right now, aren't you?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about some of the symptoms that you have.
So for me personally, I started to develop migraines for the first time in my life when I turned 46. I'm now 51. And it is a question of navigating them. And moments in my cycle, sort of each month since then, where I've had to what can only be described as literally put myself to bed for the day. And menopause is a very dramatic shift within your system that forces you to stop. You cannot get away with anything. Are you happy for me to sort of launch into that, or do you want to ask me some more questions?
Well, yeah, please do. Anything goes here. I want to have a conversation with you about this because I don't know how much people know who don't happen to be going through it now. Or some people, of course, know they never will. But it's important for us all, men, women, partners, friends, to know about it, I think. And, you know, as a woman myself who hasn't got there, who's just about getting her head around periods, I have to be honest. I mean, that's hard enough. You know, then to think that later on comes a time when you're hit with something that's supposed to be the opposite to that, but seems to throw up possibly even more problems. It can be a tough time then.
Yeah, so basically what it is obviously it's a hormonal change, a hormonal shift. So we're moving from, the second phase of our life into the third phase of our life. And we actually have 4 life phases in total. And a lot of focus is put on the hormones and, how do we regulate the hormones? Maybe we need to add something in or take something out. And actually, what I invite people to do is to recognize that the hormonal change is a highlighter of what is going on underneath at the cellular level. And that means both emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So it's basically an initiatory journey back to yourself on all levels. You cannot get away with anything. It's a bit like adolescence. So typically us menopausal women have also got teenage children. So I have the hugest amount of empathy for my teenage daughter at the moment. I've also had teenage boys who are a bit older now. And it's recognizing that it is a process and that, yes, you can try to manipulate the hormones by adding things and using creams and maybe taking HRT. But really, that's just a sticking plaster because all the hormones are doing is bringing up your toxic load to reveal to you what you've been carrying all the way along. So by the time you get to your 40s, you've usually been, you're working full time or working very hard. You're maybe raising a family. The spotlight is on your family. It's not on yourself. Well, when you get to pre-menopause, whether that's 44, 45, 46, moving into that, might be a bit earlier. Some people get it, 38, 39. Some people get it as late as 50, 55. It's quite a big, span. And what happens is it reveals to you that underlying toxic load and how badly or how well you've been taking care of yourself up to that point. And what happens is the spotlight has to be taken off your family and turned vehemently onto yourself. And you have to take care of yourself. Now, you can either see that as a really negative experience, you can bemoan it, you can moan about the hot flushes, the poor sleep, the migraines, the weight gain, or you can look at it and say, okay, what is this showing me? What do I need to do? And yes, you have to get selfish and you have to share with the family what's going on, and you have to say, I have to put myself first. I have to put myself first, and then I can help you guys out. I can help my teenage children. I can be supportive to everybody else. But let me please take those moments to clear my toxic load, to rebalance my system. And that will require retreat and really immaculate self-care and what they say radical rest, in fact.
I think that's so interesting, that idea of what you said before, you have to get to bed, and what you said just then about you have to take time out, you have to tell the family. That there must be people who try, especially maybe in those early stages when they don't realise quite how it's going to impact them, where they just keep ploughing through, keep trying, keep delivering as they have done over the years at work, keep doing all those chores at home. But it might be a case of, do you know what, someone else at home is going to have to pick up a few things. Maybe my boss does need to know about it because I need a bit more support.
Absolutely. I had it just the other day. I was doing too much in the house at summer holidays, my oldest son here, my daughter here, and just cleaning and tidying and keeping this perfectionist state of the house, needing it to be a certain way. And, that was it. My body just went into meltdown, and I could not move or did not want to move for an entire day. I rested. And delightfully, my daughter, without asking her, cleaned, my kitchen, top to bottom. It was beautiful. And I thought to myself, do you know what? So you've got to stop. You have got to stop doing too much. This is a real call for you to invite others to support you and help you, and not in a naggy, irritable way. Just, be honest and say, look, mummy needs your help, or to your partner, whoever. So, yeah, absolutely. It's really crucial. And, like I say, the body, you will not get away with it. In menopause, you will not get away with it at all. Your body will tell you in no uncertain terms, whether it's through, like I say, the awful night sweats, the hot flushes, the dramatic weight gain that makes you feel so uncomfortable and bloated, the achy joints, the sluggishness in the morning, all of that. And it's very individual to the person. A lot of people say, oh, well, I'm not getting this and I'm not getting that. And it's because it's not really to do with the hormones. The hormones are just changing. They're just shifting what's going on underneath. It's personal to you and your family history, your lifestyle, your diet, your stress. How you manifest it is individual to you. It might be hot flushes, but for some people, it might be chronic tiredness. It's very individual to the person.
I think it's great we're having this conversation. I think it's important that women know, that men know, that people of all different ages, so we can all try to support each other. The only thing I am scared about is there might be people listening who are younger, who think, do you know what, I am dreading this. I find it hard enough anyway to, keep the house in order. I feel tired anyway, with the busy lifestyles that many people lead. Can you give us any hope, Sophie? Any ideas of things we can do to help us when we get to that stage?
This is not about, the death. This is not, I'm no longer fertile. I'm going to have osteoporosis. I'm going to need hip replacements. This is the end. There's no estrogen. It is absolute rubbish. You still produce estrogen in your adrenal glands and other organs of the body, endocrine glands of the body. It is not true. It is a complete misnomer. The only reason that you will get problems like osteoporosis is because when the body is dehydrated and acidic, it will leach calcium out of the bones to buffer the acidity in the blood, and it will not get put back because the blood must be 7.34 pH at all costs, at all organs, bones, etc. So the reason why you'll develop osteoporosis and need hip replacements and so on is not to do necessarily with the lack of estrogen. Yes, that might be part of it, but you have to get underneath that, because remember, the ingredients that make your hormones are things like your essential fatty acids. There's like 30 prostaglandins, omega-3, B6, C, E, magnesium, zinc. And these are currency that you can build in your system through healthy eating and lifestyle and radical rest and immaculate self-care. So for these young women, what I want to say to you is this. Every month, your menstrual cycle is showing you what the menopause is like in the premenstrual phase. That is the menopause. So if you at the moment as a young woman are suffering with chronic tiredness, mood swings, hot flushes and bloating before your period, that is a warning to you that you need to engage in immaculate self-care and radical rest too, at that time of the month and also during menstruation. This idea of rollerblading your way through menstruation in those stupid adverts is not true. We must rest. We are cyclical creatures, and that month, yes, in pre-ovulation, your energy goes up, you feel more extrovert. In ovulation, you feel more sociable, you give your presentations at work, you're less about your intuition and feelings at that time. And then you must honor your cycle for the premenstrual and the menstruation. So, yeah, I would say to them, do not fear. With the right tools in place, eating the right diet, with the right self-care, with listening to your body, the menopause does not have to be a horrible experience. It is a journey, and you just need to listen to your body and obviously take advice from mentors and practitioners who can guide you on the right diet, etc.
We've just got a couple more moments, but I want to use them to fire some questions that you may or may not be able to answer that have come in from people listening to the programme, if I can.
Yeah, sure.
Brain fog is one of them. Claire's been in touch. She says, the emotional damage of menopause. I hear of women leaving jobs, feeling overwhelmed by anxiety, brain fog, which impacts their ability to do their jobs. Well, my first question to you, and it's her question here as well, is brain fog easy to clear up? How can we combat brain fog? Have you got any ideas on that one?
Yeah, so brain fog is simply toxicity, dehydration and toxicity. We are living at the driest time, even though there are floods and all sorts. The lifestyles we live, the environment we live in is incredibly dehydrating. We've got computers, mobile phones, satellite dishes in space, driving, flying when we don't have pandemics, all sorts of things. And we're drinking and eating things that are processed and drying, things like coffee, chocolate, alcohol, cigarettes, Coca-Cola, sugar, bread, cheese, all of these things which are acidifying and drying our system. It doesn't mean we should never have them. I always recommend 20% of the time, of course, have your favorite foods, your delicious glass of wine, etc. It's not about restriction and deprivation. It's about balance. And so what happens with brain fog is basically you need to work on opening up bowel and liver. You need to do a good detox because the liver connection to the brain is very strong. And your energy will start to improve, your brain fog will clear. Of course, you'll have moments if you're not taking care of yourself that you'll need to rest, and the brain fog is telling you that. But it's just requiring a good detox.
Mark's been in touch and he says, my wife is going through the menopause at the moment. What I would like to know is, what are the hormones that are being replaced? Where would they be made in the body? What do these hormones do? I don't know if you're able to answer any of those, are you?
Well, as I said earlier, you don't suddenly stop producing any hormones. You have other endocrine glands, the adrenal glands, for example, which continues to produce some of those hormones. We are not. Yes, hormones are important, but like I said, we've got to get underneath that and recognize that there's something deeper than hormones that produces the hormones in the first place. We have to have the ingredients in place. We start with hydration, and then we make sure we have a nourishing diet that has the B6 and the zinc and the omega-3s and the lovely prostaglandins, which are in our essential fatty acids, things like fish and, all the different eggs. And, if you're vegan, obviously you would need to go for maybe seaweed and other sea vegetables and brown rice and all these different things. So, there is a way. We need to get out of this fixation that, the body is not so badly designed that, suddenly we're going to have no hormones and suddenly we're going to, collapse and die, and all these excuses that, we died young in the olden days and now we're living much longer and that's why we're having problems. It really, honestly, the misnomers are not true. We are destined to live a long and beautiful life if we are listening to our bodies and eating and living in a way that is in harmony with our spirit and also with our, in a healthy way.
And just finally, Iris has been in touch. She says, I'm struggling with my memory. My joints get swollen and painful, which they never used to do. Also, I've been worried for years about bad sleep. I tried all sorts to fix it until I realised that it's the menopause. I couldn't stop beating myself up about it, but it's not something I'm doing wrong. And there's nothing much I can do to improve that sleep. What are your thoughts on that, sleep, and how to help people?
There's always a solution. It's not a quick fix. This idea that you go on a 6-week diet plan and you get rid of the menopausal weight gain or you resolve things. It's not a quick fix. It is a lifestyle change and a diet change for life. You have to make a decision that you want to be well for life, and rather than go on some sort of quick fix program or take extra hormones or take this or take that. So for her, what's happening is her toxic load, her liver is using her joints to dump in. What should be happening is toxins should be going via liver and out of bowel. And what happens is we get clogged up, we get dry, we get acidic, and the liver has to dump the toxins away from the essential organs so it'll push it into the joints. It's extremely uncomfortable, but there's lots you can do with your diet and lifestyle. Seeing a nutritional practitioner, there's all sorts of therapies out there that are incredibly beneficial. You can learn so much online now. So no, she doesn't need to suffer. And again, with sleep, yes, it will be a bit up and down as the hormones, your body temperature goes up and down. But again, you can lessen and reduce the symptoms. You may not be able to get rid of them completely while you're going through it, but you can certainly have days weeks where you feel really good, and you might get the odd day where you don't sleep well. But again, sleep requires you to be really well hydrated for there to be the correct cellular exchange that goes on at night, which is a sort of detox.
Sophie Shand, thank you. Yes, okay. You've answered a lot of questions from both me and those listening, so I really appreciate it. Sophie's from Fuller Nutrition. Thank you so much for your time. She talks to women who are going through the menopause and others, but she is very interested in this topic and the way nutrition can help, and lifestyle and the emotional therapies on offer. Thank you to Sophie Shand. And coming up, we're going to